The following roster and modding were provided by a willing individual. All remarks are meant for enjoyment and educational purposes.
Welcome back to the class, everyone. Today we're going to be hitting things off with another mod shaming video. A reminder, the whole point of this video is to take a look at real rosters that let us do this and give helpful advice and have a little bit of fun shaming their characters. So today we're actually going to be looking at the Bad Batch, which is pretty cool. Their season 2 just finished, no spoilers, but that is kind of cool that we're able to look at their character set right now and try to have a little bit of fun shaming these tunes. That being said, if you want one of your factions, one of your 5 character teams, I guess most teams are 5 characters, shamed as well and reviewed, do head into the Discord link below, and in there you will find instructions on how to have your character shamed as well. You can go and post your entry in the appropriate channel. But let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with Hunter, the lead himself, see what we can shame here. So I immediately like what I'm seeing here in regards to offense. The reason why I like an offense set on Hunter is because if we look at his leadership, he is going to allow all Bad Batch allies, including himself, when they have defense up, to deal true damage to all enemies. This is the bulk of where Bad Batch's damage is actually going to come from, and it's going to be important, especially against units that are immune to max health damage, of which the Bad Batch does have to fight some, or specifically First Order. So what this means is whenever they get defense up, they're going to be able to deal damage that won't crit. So crit damage and crit chance are kind of thrown out the window in that sense, but it'll ignore their defense. That is what true damage is. So offense here as well, I do like that a lot. One other stat that I would like to see that isn't here is potency. Hunter, to be able to kill Adrad, this is so annoying when he can't do it. He needs to land these explosives. Adrad is so stinking thick. You need to be able to do that max health damage to him. So these explosives have to land. So shame here, no potency here, no potency set. What is his actual potency? So 56%, he does get a 50% boost from his bonus. He can get a little bit from tech on top of that. But I've just had so many experiences where having low potency on Hunter ends up resulting in Adrad not dying, crushing your team, and it's very bad. It just sucks. So definitely work on that. That is definitely worth shaming. Offense there is okay. I don't like crit damage here really all that much either. Definitely work on getting offense for that. Could be a lot better. Speed here is okay. Hunter's a pretty naturally slow character, and you do actually want him to take turns, so I really don't have any issues with the speed arrow. Overall, I feel a little bit bad saying your speed needs to be better because, like most characters in the game, speed need to be better. So that's probably fine for the most part. Yeah, but if you can, work on your potency mods. You get him some real stuff so that he can actually start going out, applying those explosives. And I should have mentioned, not just dealing damage, but also reducing turn meter. Because whenever they pop an expose, the enemy character loses 50% turn meter, or 100 Third Droid or Separatist. Next up, we'll look at Omega. Omega's, I won't lie, her whole thing I think is kind of almost pointless as far as her modding goes. And the reason why is Omega's best feature is the fact that she is Bad Batch. And that actually is legitimately cool because it provides extra stats to the rest of the team. Tech does get 1 extra speed because she's there, and Wrecker does get a pre-taunt because she's there. So those are some nice added bonuses. You do want her to have quite a bit of offense so that she can be a really good single damage attacker. Hint, hint, wink, wink, CG. I don't really love crit damage on her again because if she has defense up, she's going to be dealing true damage, and the crit damage essentially goes nowhere. So that could be a lot better. Wow, that's a good mod. Overall, her speed is kind of whatever. I kind of like having her slowest. So her first turn, she can go and use empathy first and give everyone turn meter to help them cycle back to their second turn, because they have a little bit of turn meter, but they don't really have enough to get a consistent chain going if you don't have things lined up correctly. So her speed overall is fine. Definitely work on trying to get some more offense if you can spare it. Again, going back to my comment at the very beginning, her modding isn't of the utmost important. Bad Batch typically do just tend to beat everything that they beat, regardless of where she's at. Next up is Echo. So Echo has one thing that matters a lot, and this is very similar to Mara Jade, where yes, he can use other stats, but if you don't get him fast, if he can't go first, if he can't apply his irresistible daze and healing meter to the enemy, a lot of the times Bad Batch just lose, and they lose hard. This is what is stopping the vast majority of teams against you. potency is nice to have. I see you have a potency set here as well. If that is not stopping you from gaining any speed, and I don't think it is, because you have about plus 20s on this, and for a roster of this size, plus 20s are really good. So you probably don't need to change those out for something that's faster. You're probably, I mean, you probably net probably 2 speed or something like that, dropping that. And the potency set is nice just because while the healing immunity and daze, which really are the more important debuffs, are irresistible, this one's not. Buff immunity as well as expose on all enemies, that's not irresistible. That actually can be resisted, and if it is, that's not great. Sometimes those 2 debuffs are actually pretty important. So Echo overall gets a pretty high score. 349 for speed again for a roster this size is really stinking good. If you can get him faster, do it. But I really don't hate the potency set that has 20 speed secondaries, especially, I mean, there's potency secondaries here as well. Yeah, so very, very good job on Echo. Don't have a lot of shame for him. Now, let's go to tech, because we do need to shame tech. We have a problem here. Your Echo is really stinking fast. He's about 349, if I remember correctly from what we just saw. Great memory. So, your tech only has 257 speed. This presents a pretty big problem, actually, because what's going to happen is your Echo's going to go. He's going to rip all the buffs off the enemy team. Wonderful, marvelous. And then tech really needs to go right after to be able to get his stun. If we look at how his stun works, the enemy has to have, what is it? They have to have daze or target lock, which, you know, Echo applies to daze. You get the stun, and then you go on with your life. You just destroy the team. The issue here is your gap between tech and Echo is so wide. It's about, I think, 90. No, it's about 80 speed because you're getting 10 speed from this. It's about 80 speed. You need to be ripping off, at minimum, 5 buffs to be able for tech to be able to circle back around the first time. And if you don't get them and the enemy team cleanses, you're in hot water like really fast. Even if you're going up against a team that Bad Batch should wipe the floor with every single time, like Grievous or Geonosians, for example. If you go, let's say you're up against a Grievous Newt team, they go and you rip all the debuffs off, and then Grievous, has enough turn meter, he goes, pushes everyone back, he's fast, let's say he's faster than your tech, and then Magna goes next, cleanses everyone. Not only has the General Grievous team started to get going, but on top of that, they've cleansed the daze so that when tech does eventually get the turn, you're not actually stunning them, and then things just go really downhill from there. So that is a pretty specific case, and the enemy team does have to be pretty fast to be able to come and interrupt. But there's other examples of that too, where teams that Bad Batch should just be beating every single time, they're going to really struggle if we can't close that gap. It might even be worth, you'll have to look at this, but it might even be worth taking one of the really fast speed mods off Echo, putting them on tech and just kind of swapping. Ooh, that needs to be faster. Don't swap that one. But something maybe more in the... yeah, maybe more in this range, swapping a mod out like that and trading 10 speed just to get them closer. Because realistically, you should almost always have 2 buffs to take off to be able to get from one character to the other. That's 10% turn meter, so even Geonosians will do that. So just closing, I would definitely recommend closing that gap. Next up, and lastly, is going to be Wrecker. Wrecker can actually go several different directions. The team does have crit avoidance, so I do like a crit avoidance arrow on him. This one right here, I don't love it for a few reasons. Number one, we don't have any speed, and Wrecker actually does want to take turns. Health is okay, though. He can definitely use that. He can use the protection. He can use the flat health and everything like that. The protection primary is good. I do, similar to Hunter, I would like to see more potency on him as well. He is at 87%, which I guess is 130. But again, when you have teams that have any type of tenacity built up, you do want to have maybe just like a protection primary, or maybe even one protection set, potency primary or a potency set, just to push him over that 100 threshold to get him to 150 to make sure that he pretty consistently is getting off his 2-turn stun, because it's a really big letdown when you have this 2-turn stun, you go to use it, and the one character that is the one with the cleanse, it doesn't land on and then wipes it off of everyone. So you want to wipe out all that RNG as much as possible. So yeah, crit avoidance here would be great. That really doubles down. There's a lot of hidden stuff in the Bad Batch kit, but when we look all the way over at Hunter's lead, whenever they have evasion up, which I believe Hunter or Tech gives, one of them gives, they get 50% critical avoidance, which means you can get Wrecker up to about 85% critical avoidance before even considering his relic. Does he have any of that in his relic? I guess we're doing this on the spot. He might. I think he does. You can get it even higher, but even 85% is worth putting the arrow on to make sure that those don't hit nearly as frequently. Protection's good. The health sets are okay. I would kind of like defense sets. He benefits a lot from that. It's a lot harder to get him down. So Overall review, Omega could use more offense instead of crit damage. Not the biggest deal. Hunter, get him some potency, maybe kind of, you know, give up a little bit on the crit damage triangle. Echo's great. Tech needs to be faster, maybe be willing to swap off some of Echo's mods to be able to get him in that zone. And then Wrecker, if you can find a good crit avoidance arrow and defense sets to work towards, that's probably also going to be your friend. So thank you for watching, and as always, guys, stay awesome.